Town USA here with a video about audio, and this is a common discussion that comes up online. The old saying that playing a microline or fine line stylus on a styrene 45 is bad. So I decided to do some tests myself to prove this theory right or wrong once and for all. Some people say it's fine. Some people say it's not. I've been on the Steve Hoffman forum. He recommends a conical, in which a conical is good for playing styrene 45s. I have had no issues with elliptical styluses on a styrene 45. However, after my test here, we'll give you my rendition and you know, my decision on if it's reality or false. So anyway, what you need first, you want to set the anti-skate, and the proper way of doing that is with a blank record. And I don't mean grooves that are cut on the record that are blank. I mean an absolute smooth finish piece of vinyl with no cutting on it at all. Some people have used a blank CDR to do this as well. I have not. Maybe that works too, but this definitely works. I know it's a bit difficult to try to find 45 7-inch records that have absolutely nothing on one side, not even a blank cut, but if you look at some test pressings, some of them may have it. Now, to test the anti-skate, you want to make sure, obviously, that when you set the needle down on the blank side of the record, it doesn't swing either way, no matter what position it's on, whether it's towards the leading grooves or the middle or towards the run out. The needle should not swing either way. It should stay stationary on the record while it's spinning. Now, my settings here are at about just under 2.5, and the same goes for this one here too. These are older decks that I bought brand new back in 1995, and sometimes over time the tensioner spring that's kind of inside the mechanism here may not work as good as it did when it was new, but nevertheless, as long as the needle doesn't swing either way when you put it on a blank piece of record, you should be fine with the anti-skate. And if it moves inside towards the inner grooves, if it's very, very slow and gradual, you'd rather have that than swinging the other way around. But you really don't want the needle to move either way. Second, you want a scale, a stylus scale. Now, I know that you could float the arm and then set the gauge to 0 there, and then just turn the counterweight until it reads 2 grams or whatever the weight specifies for your stylus, but it's not entirely accurate. Trust me. Get yourself a stylus scale. They're only like $10 and they work like a charm. Another thing, I mean, this is a platter leveler to make sure that your platter is level, and I know that I have my felt on here now, but the majority of the bubble, a little more than half, is within that circle range, so it's not really a major deal. Its smaller brother is actually a tone arm leveler, so you can gauge if your tone arm is level with the record or the cartridge on the record. This one you can eyeball. The reason why I got that is because it came with its larger brother. Second, or third actually I should say, is an overhang gauge. Now this works for S-shaped tone arms for Techniques, but I have noticed and read that some of these have manufacturer's defects on them. And the trick is that when you put a cartridge on one of these here to check the overhang, is you want the back rubber washer flushed against this section right here, and the tip of the needle should be right there at the very edge of it. If the tip of the needle is right here at the edge of this, and the rubber washer in the back of the cartridge head shell is flush against this, then you're at 52 millimeters, which is good for Technique's SL1200s or any similar shaped tone arm. Now the reason why some of these may be defective, maybe the stem is slightly turned one way or whatever, my advice is to get a protractor anyway, just to double check. So if you put it on here first, and then all of a sudden, and then you put it on here, and if everything jives up, both the outer edge of the protractor and the inner edge, and it's here, then you know that this gauge is good and you won't have to use this anymore. But trust me, I really have read and I've seen actual proof of people saying that with photographs and everything, that hey, this thing here, some of them, I mean most of them are fine, but you know, who knows, you may get one that's bunk and you end up thinking you're legit with your 52 millimeter distance, and all of a sudden ends up destroying your records. What else am I getting at here? Okay, so we got that and that. Now, as for the styrene question here, first what I did was I played it on here first. Make sure that, you know, everything is cool as far as not having any type of distortion or any type of serious surface noise when spinning this on this stylus. So then it was fine, so I moved it onto here. After about 3 plays, the Bosch I started hearing distortion, kind of like some irritating surface noise. So then what I did was, and this is set to 2 grams, which is the manufacturer's spec. What I did was this time around is I lowered it down to 1.77 grams, and it actually played. I did it on the Captain Tennille 45, and after about 6 or 7 plays, you started to hear it. So maybe I need to go a little bit lighter, but then you're kind of going below what the spec range is for this cartridge. So in my opinion, I would not play styrene 45 with a microline cart. You know, you may get away with it for the first, you know, few spins, but eventually you'll start to hear distortion on this. I don't really have time today to actually play this record to hear what you'll hear, but I will get around to it. I'm about to leave on vacation in a couple days, so I won't have time to do this, but just word of advice, don't play styrene 45s with a microline cart or a fine line cart. You'll eventually will start to slowly destroy them. Thanks for watching.